episode 1 of an unnamed podcast.
Yeah, we have some interesting ideas. But I think like as many people, or I mean like at least the two of us and Einstein, so there's three, we have much better conversations when we're walking.
Right. I think Naval talked about that as well. Naval was saying that
That makes it four.
when he works at any startup or if he's in charge of any company, he makes sure that all the meetings are walking meetings.
Mm,
He said because if you all sit down in a room, everybody's then just trying to sound smart or score points.
yeah,
But if you've got a group of 3 or 4 guys walking together, you tend to get straight to the point.
yeah,
And there's no need to pretend that you are. Yeah, I don't know. The corporateness, I think, goes out the window when everybody's walking in the same direction, right?
yeah. And two other things. There's no distraction, and I think also the brain does something when you're walking. It's because you're active while you're walking.
Yeah,
You
you don't
are
have to twitch, right? You don't have to
yeah,
twitch and get distracted because you're trying to make sure you're not going to walk into a ditch, and that's using like that background capacity, I think, of your like lizard brain.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that keeps you awake because I like honestly, when I do a podcast, when I did the podcast with you guys, like after an hour, I feel like just sitting down, I'm getting fatigued,
Yeah, same.
right? And then I'm like, oh shit, I need to fight to keep myself up. And then that's sort of like in computer terms, it's sort of a background job that then has to run to keep me alive, and that takes away from the compute that I could use for thinking. When you're walking, I feel like you don't need that background job because the background job is sort of the walking, and the walking seems to be very embedded into your system, right? You can do that anytime.
So, talking about the walking, is the crunching of the snow too loud?
No, it's okay. I think
All right.
makes it very authentic. I can see. I'll walk on the beach and see if it's the
No, I
sand is
think
similar. And I'll say home.
sand will sound better than ice cold crunching.
Yeah, but then we got wind and waves. That's
Right.
more background noise.
Yeah.
So let's stay here. Yeah. So I'm glad we're finally doing a first episode. I was thinking, just when we had this first try earlier, where we said about, the Chris Williamson doing 450 episodes to get to 250,000 followers. And we talked about it the other week, when we first met 7 or 8 years ago, we should just recorded all our calls. That would have been a good podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
Essentially.
just imagine, right, how cool it would be now if we could just go and listen into one of our 2016 or 2015 no,
Yeah.
2018, sorry,
Yeah, it
2018.
must have been 28.
Yeah, 2018 conversation, 2020 conversations. What was our headspace like during COVID? Stuff like that. Or when you were moving countries, then I was moving.
Yeah. I think that would be pretty cool. Pretty cool thing just to have. I feel like maybe there's a business here where, you just this conversation that we're having now, I feel like lots of people will have that kind of conversation. And maybe you want to just record all conversations always and store them. And then you can keep them private. You don't have to share them with anyone. But then you make them searchable. So you can go back and say like, oh, what did we talk? Yeah, you transcribe it. Maybe you can even feed it into an AI model, and then that AI model could answer questions about it. So they're like, tell me what our predictions about this and that were in 2020.
Yeah, that's actually a cool idea, right? It's like having a photo gallery, but it's a call gallery, right? A
Yeah,
conversation gallery.
yeah. Because Riverside isn't geared towards that, right? We're sort of only using a small subset of niche features of Riverside right now, and then getting it to what we want would be another step. But like a simple iOS app that allows you to call someone else and then just record the audio parts would be pretty cool.
It should be, maybe it'd be something like a add-on to just ask, right? When you do make that call, whether it's with FaceTime or WhatsApp or whatever, would you like to log this for posterity
Yeah,
for the future?
yeah. I would like that. And then you can decide, right? You can share it. You can share bits. That would also be cool, right? So like, oh, we talked about this really interesting part. Let's just share that clip or share that with a friend. Sometimes you want to maybe mention something you've discussed, but then the next time you talk about it, it's not as good or it's not as authentic and it's not the full context. So maybe you just want to share this bit with someone.
Wow. We're 5-10 minutes into the call and we've already got a business idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
So,
Software will be free.
since this is first episode, right? So, what is it that we're wanting to do? Just for people that don't know us, why are we doing this? What's the why? What's the why for you, anyway?
I feel like, both of us throughout the last 7 years have really achieved quite a bit in our lives, and not famous like achievements. So we're not Naval, we're not Chris Williams, and we're not anybody that has become a billionaire or any other success. But I feel like we've got this normal life success. Maybe it isn't even normal life, but I feel like I'm still a normal person. But I've gotten to, yeah, I'm really happy with my life. I'm pretty happy. 2 kids, 3 soon. I can do whatever I want. Right now, we are financially in a pretty good spot, and I haven't inherited any money. I didn't get a $100 million exit from my company or nothing. My startups aren't working properly yet, but still, I feel like I'm like in a much better spot than a lot of my peers are, and that's just through like intentional stuff. And I think a lot of it, to be honest, came from conversations that I had with people like yourself, right? So we just talked about things and then bounced ideas off of each other and helped us then to individually improve our lives, be it through making better investment decisions or be it through living more intentionally, living healthier, and or yeah, maybe I don't know, just picking places to live, like finding the best balance. All of that I think came through these interesting conversations. That's really what I'd like to do, is try and get this out to other people that might also be interested in this,
Yeah,
in changing something, right? How
yeah.
about you?
I mean, I think I'm pretty excited about it because I don't have any like hard and fast targets that I have for this project that me and you are on, right? This podcast that we're starting. I don't need it to go anywhere. It's more like I feel like, I call you pretty often and I enjoy the, like what you said, right? I enjoy the back and forth and I get a lot of value out of it. So
Yeah,
I'm just hoping that, we can keep track of these conversations, of the journeys we're having. And then if as a bonus, right, we find other people that it resonates with, all the better, then
yeah,
we
true.
can our tribe, right? Because I am so freaking thankful for technology, right? Because without this, I'd feel pretty lost right now, I think. Because I live in Germany now, and I feel if I did not have the chance to just ring people that I'm close to that think along, similar frameworks, I'd struggle to find my group right here in this middle-sized town or city in Germany. Because
Yeah,
I can't say, hey, I'm gonna go have a beer with someone and then have the conversations that I have with you or with Lovis or with other good friends of mine back home, in Singapore or in Australia.
yeah,
So I'm really glad for that. Hey, you said just now you think we're doing pretty well compared to our peers. How about compared to who you were like 5-6 years ago? Like, would you say that flow that was 5 years younger, he'd see where you're at now and say, "Freak, that was pretty good, right? The risk you took, I'm glad you took them. It's paid off." Because instead of comparing to other people, it's also interesting to compare with yourself, right? Like who you were when you were working at that tech company, earning a pretty good salary. I remember when you first told me when they sent you to Singapore and you told me how much you were making, I was like, "Wow, shit, I can't imagine making that amount of money," right? And then I feel like I also went through a similar arc because then the startup I was working with started to go pretty well. I also got, every year my salary went up because performance was good, startup was doing well. But now when I look back, I feel like I'm happier now than I was back then for sure. So I'm really glad for my own decisions, right, that I've made along the way.
yeah, yeah. I definitely love that idea, right, of not necessarily comparing to other people, but comparing to your past self. I think that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, like, there's, if I look back 5 years, there's certainly a lot of mistakes that I've made. But I think these mistakes now have led me to where I am. And if I wouldn't have made them, I don't think I would have reached this point. I listened to
Yeah.
this thing yesterday. It was talking like about suffering and how suffering sort of makes you go through these things, pushing you through these limits, and that is the only thing that enables you to grow. And so I think, yeah, definitely. I think in the last years, definitely have grown, definitely have changed. For one thing, I feel like I'm 36, and I have never been as fit. Like with 26, I was sort of, I was not fat. I don't think I can be super fat. Yeah, I was definitely
Softer.
I was soft, and I definitely had more body fat, and I wasn't as fit. I was like sitting more. I was less active. I wasn't eating as healthy. All that stuff, for sure. So I think like comparing that, I feel like I've improved a lot, which is funny, right? I think about it often because I'm 10 years older to that, and it
Yeah.
should actually be the opposite, right? It should be like as you age, you get less fit. Oh yeah, I think you discover these things.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm the same. I wouldn't say I'm fitter now, but I would say because 5 years ago I was still, I was already I was already prioritizing fitness. Like for me, fitness was always something that was important. I played a lot of tennis, and when you play a lot of tennis, you notice, I was playing like 2 or 3 times a week, and each time like 2-3 hours under the hot sun, right,
Mm-hmm.
in Singapore. And you notice straight away when you're not fit because, just the way you run to the ball, just the way you can keep your shape while are you able to think during the point, or are you just struggling to breathe, right? And I think since I got older, I noticed I'm just more aware. And I noticed like 2 days ago, I had a really big night out and didn't get much sleep and the kids were keeping me up and I drank too much. And then now I can really feel it when I'm on the court, like I would have been able to run that ball down, but now I can't. And it takes me longer to get back to that, let's say, that peak performance, right? So I think that's a bit about aging that I'm definitely aware of.
Oh, that's interesting. So how do I call it? Like the stuff that's like out of the norm, or like the setbacks, they're harder when you're
Yeah, so
older.
I don't yet feel, because I was never like professional or elite level, right? I was okay fit. I am, right? But whenever I left that peak, and went into a trough, it would take me so much longer now, or I realize now it takes me longer to get back to where I was, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And I see it in the gym also, like at the gym, how many reps you can do at what weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you realize that, okay, if I don't go, I've been traveling, I don't go for a month, and then I come back, I'm lazy, I don't start for another month. And how long it takes, how many sessions it takes for you to come back to where you once
Oh,
was, right? It takes so much longer.
takes much longer than when you were
Yeah,
younger. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So you have to put in more work and um, be a lot more conscious about what you're eating, I guess, right? And
100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
all these things as you get older. Shit, how's that going to be when you're like 50 and you want to
exactly.
stay? How would that be? Or 60 or 70, right? Like you then have to live like a monk, have perfect routines and perfect food to stay fit.
So, for me, right, I know whenever I gamify stuff, I tend to do better at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what's my big game now?
Oh.
I told Theo that he's 6 now, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
40.
Yeah.
So I told him, hey, let's have a competition when you're 16 and I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see who can do more chin ups. We'll do like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
a 50-meter sprint, right?
yeah,
And push ups, and we'll see who can do more, right? So now when I'm in the gym, I'm thinking my 6-year-old's gonna get me. I need
yeah.
to be fitter than him in 10 years.
Yeah, I
It's
think
quite
that's
cool.
actually a really cool thing to think about, right? That you want to be fitter than your kids or as fit as your kids. You know,
For as
there's
long as possible.
as long as possible. Yeah, you won't be able to do it forever, of course. Yeah. Well, I had this moment, right, where I've been doing these dead hangs. So you
How long can you
hang.
go for?
Well, I don't have anything in the current house to hang on, but I was able to do 1.5 minutes when we
Whoa.
still had this.
Yeah,
And so that was when we lived in Cyprus. So we had
yeah,
something I could hang on. I don't have anything here, so I can't practice it. So we went to the playground about, a while ago. And Charlotte, my daughter, is 5, and she goes to school because in New Zealand you start early. You start school with 5, and they do like all this monkey bars at school,
yeah.
right? So these bars, and she's able to climb along them. And so we did a competition because there were 2 bars, and we said like who can do a longer hang, and I started hanging and I was like 30 seconds in, and I told her about the competition. Then she joined in. So I had like a 30-second head start to give her, to make it sort of sound a bit better for me. But then she went and hung there, and then she like casually switched from like one hand to the other hand, letting go with one hand. And I was like, holy shit, I can't even do that. I hang
You
with one
didn't
hand. I'm struggling to keep on with two. But she just like casually bounced from one side to the other.
you didn't know you were challenging a pro.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like that's
Yeah,
something we lose with age,
yeah,
is that monkey ability. And you get heavier. I mean, like I'm only like 76 kilos right now. You need a lot more muscle to do that when compared to her, who's like 17 kilos.
yeah. I mean, I tried this time at the gym, and I only did it after like 3 sets of deadlifts.
Hmm.
And then I tried, and I was struggling to reach a minute. But I
Oh yeah.
haven't done it in so long, right? And I
Hmm.
realized as well that I definitely could hang way longer in the past, right?
Yeah. But is
Yeah.
it grip strength? Because I feel like for me, it had a lot to do with grip strength
Yeah,
and
it's
not
grip
the
strength.
actual. Yeah.
But I think because I was, to do deadlifts, you tire out your forearms quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So next time I'm
Absolutely.
gonna try just, before I start anything, just do the dead hang as a good warm up.
Yeah. Or do it at home. I feel like to me, it was like a really good exercise after sitting for a while.
Yeah.
You try and hang, it sort of loosens up the back a little bit.
Yeah, I've been reading that the dead hang's actually super good for correcting posture and decompressing your spine and all that stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because I think we're still monkeys, and monkeys like hanging. So
Yeah.
like, our bodies haven't really fully adjusted to walking yet.
All right. So next time in a year from now, we'll just start this podcast with us both dead hanging and see who can
Dead
hang
hanging,
on
yeah.
longer.
I just need to find something where I can hang myself. Don't have it. Sometimes difficult to do in rental places. But you go to a gym, right?
Yeah, I have a gym about 10 minutes walk away.
How are you going to do it when you're moving? How are you going to try and keep up? So you're going to move to Singapore first for a month and then to China, right?
Right. And where we stay in Singapore, there's a fitness corner. The government makes sure, I think, that most parks, small parks in Singapore have fitness corners, so you can do your dips and your chin ups and your sit ups and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll try and make use of that.
That's really cool because I think there's a lot of benefit of working out outside.
Yeah. You mean the sun, or it's just to get away from
Yeah,
artificial light, or what is it, do you
sun,
think?
get away from that, and then potentially combine that with the morning, because Huberman talks about this a lot, about the benefit of viewing the morning sun, getting the morning sun in your eyes, like the sort of the sunrise, that it does something to your body to initiate and kick off that part of the circadian rhythm that wakes you up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a scientist here, but like it sort of makes sense, right? Because we very likely, for the majority of our evolution, lived outside, and
Yeah,
so when the sun would rise, we would get up because you can't sleep very well when the sun's in your face. So that's what we do, and
yeah,
then you would slowly like kick off these hormones that would wake you up, make you active, and go find food.
yeah,
But right now we don't do it, right? I get up. I wake up at 5, roughly, and I get up, and then I go have a coffee. But I don't go outside.
yeah.
Probably
And
should
then
do
you need
that
to get
more.
and if you wake up with the kids, then you need to get them ready and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In the winter it's even harder because then you need to layer up and all that stuff.
Oh man, over here, by the time the kids are at school, the sun hasn't really come up yet during
Yeah,
winters.
during winters are
But
depressing.
I don't know if did I tell you that I went to the Solomon Islands many years ago.
Oh no, I've got a friend who's from the Solomon Islands. What did you
Oh,
do
really?
there?
So when I got my first engineering job, when I first graduated, I joined a consulting engineering firm. And they asked if anybody would be willing to use up their 2 weeks of leave, and the company would then pay for us to go with this. I can't remember the name of this NGO. Like it's like Architects. It sounded something like Architects Without Borders or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, basically, we went to the Solomon Islands to teach the villagers how to build pit latrines so that they could go to the toilet and not get everyone sick. Don't
Yeah.
sully the groundwater.
Hmm.
Because they used to live by the beach, and they would just go so remote. They're on the Pacific Ocean. They've got a village of like 200 people. So to go to the bathroom, it's just go into the water, do your business, and then come out, right? And it's
Mm.
fine, and it's okay, because the population density was so low.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then the village got hit by a tsunami, and so everyone and the whole village got destroyed, and everyone got so traumatized they didn't want to live by the beach anymore, and they decided to live in the mountains, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
At like, I don't know, 800-900 meters elevation, if my memory serves me right.
Hmm.
So they all moved up there, and then they realized, oh, how do we go to the toilet now? And they didn't know how to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we went
So
there,
you
and then
helped them.
like I was learning as well, right? But
Hmm.
I had the theory of what to do, but the guys that do it every year, they go to these different villages. An Aussie guy was from Sydney was organizing it. So we went to this place that was so remote, right? We had to get there via a motorized canoe that was basically like a hollowed out log,
Hmm.
and it took us 4 hours to get there
Holy shit.
from a town, right? And we couldn't see land. And they were telling us, don't put your fingers in the water because there's tiger sharks and saltwater crocodiles. We were like, we're sitting on a
Both.
small log. We can't see land. And the guy's like, oh, don't worry, we've got a beacon. Like, if I press this button, the Australian Navy will come and save us with a helicopter. And we're like, yeah,
Yeah.
how long is that going to take?
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
close to Australia. Yeah.
Now, I think the Aussie Navy has like an outpost there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but so this place where we were, that village, long story, but back to your point about the waking up with the dawn, right? They
Hmm.
have no electricity at all, right?
Yeah.
So when the sun sets, you basically have, and it's near the equator, so you've got 12 hours of pitch black,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they don't have smartphones, they don't have all this stuff to try and like light the way, right? So like even if you wanted to go to your neighbor's house just to
Hmm.
chit chat, you can't find your way. Like it's just so
It's
dark,
dark.
you can't get there, right? And if you do get to your friend's house, how are you gonna get home? So basically, once the sun starts setting, everybody just heads back, right? And then they just hang out with their family in the dark, and then they
Mm.
sleep 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
And when I was there for I think it was like 7 8 days, you just automatically wake up at the break of dawn, right? The first ray of sunlight that hits your eyelids, you just
Hmm.
wake up, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
feel so refreshed, right? And you always wake up just before the sun goes over the horizon.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the Huberman guy, yeah, I think he there must be something there, right?
Yeah. 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 I think there is. You can probably test it, or you tested it already, right? That if you do get out and you do get that sunlight in your eyes, then you probably feel more active, right? I don't do it every time, every single day, probably because I'm weak and I want to use the morning to work
Mm-hmm.
instead of just walk on the beach. But I've done it a few times, and you go for a walk and then you come back and you just feel you don't even necessarily need a coffee to get you started. Whereas if I don't go out, yeah, I'll definitely take a coffee.
Maybe just take note of the days that you do go out. Do you fall asleep easier as well that night? Because I think
No, I
that's
haven't.
also one
Yeah,
part of it, right? Like when you have a good start to the cycle,
yeah,
it's easier for you to keep it up almost, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to get back to testing this stuff out. At the moment, it's just really there's no way to scientifically test any of this because the kids are too young. My nights are shit anyway, no
Yeah,
matter
yeah,
what.
yeah. And you got another one coming, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be another at least 4 years until I'll be doing some Huberman-like testing
Yeah,
of.
but I guess in the meantime, optimize it. I don't think I'm sure people in the past also had to deal with a bear coming into their camp or whatever, right?
Oh
Like
yeah, I
they're
mean, and
also,
they had kids that were awake at night too. I bet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think like yeah, I haven't tested it for a while because I luckily where we live I can get out almost every day and I do.
Hmm.
But yeah, I should do it again. Like test it in the morning, see if that helps. I think like there's so much science and so many tricks and hacks and things like that out there. It's just hard to find out what really works. But yeah, there's
Hmm.
probably lots of truth to not working half an hour at least before you sleep, like closing the laptop. Maybe that improves sleep quality. Having like a darker room, no artificial light, no noise.
Yeah.
All that likely helps.
So funny, right? It sounds so simple, but for most of us, it's so hard to do. Like for me as well, I realize I fall asleep so much easier when I turn on some podcast or something, and then by the second or third sentence, I'm down, right? I'm dead.
Because you're
But
distracted.
yeah, but then if I just have the silence there,
Hmm.
somehow it's just not as easy. Like your mind's racing and you're thinking, you're getting a bit of anxiety. What haven't I done? What must I do tomorrow?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess it's like with kids, right? We usually get the kids to sleep by like carrying them and so they can see new stuff all the time or by reading a book to them. So they're distracted.
Or with Noah, he needs to listen to you talking to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that helps too. Yeah. But it's like that, because if I don't go and carry him and try to like, get him to stay still for a while, he'll just like run around and he's active and that doesn't work. He can't sleep like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's wrestling. Well, that's cool, man. Back to Singapore. I think like you should. You're gonna go and work out then in the mornings. Get the
for
sun.
for sure, for sure. And I'll be playing tennis as well, hopefully. So
Yeah.
the first 2 or 3 games back in Singapore is always super brutal, right? Because it's just so hot.
Yeah.
And in Germany, they play tennis on clay, and it's a bit
Hmm.
slower. And then you go back to Singapore, and everybody's playing on hard court, like concrete,
Yeah.
and it's just way faster.
Mm.
And then with the humidity, like seriously, the last 2 times that I've been back to Singapore, every time the first game, I'm almost at the point of puking.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what happens then in your body. Like, does it? How? Like, it's interesting that it can adjust so quickly. That you say after three
Yeah, yeah.
games, you're back.
Yeah, yeah. By the third session, I would be back. But it just takes a while for your body to get acclimatized to the humidity, how much it needs to sweat so that it can lower the temperature, right?
Hmm.
Because I can go 2 or 3 hours here in Germany, even in summer under the sun, and
Yeah.
maybe I'd need half a bottle of water, like half a liter, right? But in Singapore, it's definitely 3 liters, like a liter
Oh
an
shit.
hour,
Yeah.
right?
My God. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the body needs to switch gears, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I remember it when we first moved to Singapore. Um, I went for runs and it took quite some time to get used to it
Yeah.
because it's just so hot, so humid, and you just sweat a lot more.
Yeah. But I don't know. For us, we'll go back to Singapore now for Chinese New Year. And then we're heading to China in early March. And China should be pretty nice and temperate in March, right? It should be about 15.
Oh, nice. The city you're going to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The city I'm going to is near Shanghai. So it's quite far north compared to the southern part of China. So it's much cooler than, say, Hong Kong.
Where would that be in terms of like Europe, Shanghai.
You're testing me here, but I think it would be like Southern Europe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be Southern Europe.
So you'll get a nice summer then, and not too brutal of a winter. But you're only staying 4 months, right?
Yeah, so before it gets really hot, I think we'd be heading home already.
Yeah. So cool, man. That's gonna be a really nice experience, I bet.
I hope so. I mean, I'm going into it very, I don't know, like excited, but not too much in terms of expectations because I don't know how my family's going to deal with the whole culture shock, right? Like not
Yeah.
being able to speak the language at all, not being able to read the signs.
Yeah.
But then I just came back from Stockholm, right? I went to Stockholm for New Year's Eve.
Mm.
And it reminded me that when I decided to go there on exchange in 2008, I was telling Theo that, hey, when Dad landed here, what is it like? Is that like 16? How, is that 16 years ago?
You said 2008.
Yeah.
That's 18. It's
18. Oh,
2026.
shit. Oh, yeah. 18 years ago in January 2008, I
Mm-hmm.
remembered this really distinct feeling of I don't know, I guess you would call it freedom in a way or uninhibited, right? Because I realized when I touched down that I did not know a single person on the whole continent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
So you
could
came from
not,
Singapore to Stockholm, was that?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was studying in Australia at the time, right? And
Mm.
then I did an exchange. Like they offered, they were very supportive and said, hey, whoever wants to go, we'll support you, we'll give you a bit of money, we'll help you with all the admin stuff. So I took the chance, and then I remember landing in Stockholm at Arlanda, right? And I could not read any of the signs at the airport, right? Like I couldn't tell what was exit, what was entrance, all that stuff, right? Then I had to take the subway and I couldn't read any of the signs. And I remember that it was actually very exhilarating and very pleasant. So
Mm.
I don't know. Hopefully my family will lean that way rather than freak out and go, this is too foreign.
Yeah. Well, I feel like whenever you go to a new place, I'm not sure if that's on like holiday or if it's on moving there. I moved to a bunch of different countries, but like whenever I moved, it was sort of this: you move and it feels magical, So the whole place,
You're like
you
in a new
arrive,
world.
yeah, like a new world. But then I had this feeling yesterday. So I was like driving by the mall that is like close to our house, and I thought back to when we arrived here in New Zealand, and back then everything was new and sort of like a bit magical, right? You're figuring it all out. You're like, oh, there's a mall here. I don't know what's close to that mall. Like it feels more apart. You haven't connected the dots. But then
Yeah,
after a year, 2 years, 3 years, it's all like it lost that magic. It's normal and it's your normal life.
yeah,
But yeah, sometimes I think it's cool thinking back to that moment when you arrive first,
yeah, yeah. Like
exploring.
seeing everything with a child's eyes, right? Or through
Hmm.
the lens of a child almost.
Yeah, I bet for them it'd be super cool too.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'll give you a ring when I'm there, and then we'll see as
Yeah.
the time progresses.
Yeah, yeah. I bet it will be amazing
Yeah, I hope
because
so.
you speak the language, you at least enough to communicate with everyone, right, and have
Yeah,
conversations,
yeah,
and that's a huge benefit.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, I think if we were to go there without any language whatsoever, it would
Hmm.
be a lot more exciting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably would not go there with two young kids. Like, if it was just me and my wife and
Hmm.
we could not speak the language, I think that would still be okay. Like, we'd still
Yeah.
figure it out. But with kids, and then, maybe someone gets sick or whatever, and then needing to navigate that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would that be
Let's
your
see.
main concern?
Yeah, that would be what I'd be worried about. Because the last time we were there, the first time we went as a
Hmm.
family was last year in around Feb or March, I think. Feb, I think.
Yeah.
And then Johan got really sick. He had a high fever, and it was like 41 degrees, and he couldn't really he was still drinking. But it's pretty scary when your 2-year-old's that weak, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, I could get some help, and I had some friends there, and they recommended a doctor. And instead of us having to go sit in an emergency room,
Mm.
we got basically like a private consultation in the middle, like at 10 p.m. at night, right? And so that made everything a lot less stressful. And
Yeah.
and that doctor didn't speak English, so
Yeah. Yeah.
me being able to tell her, yeah, he's got a fever, he hasn't been eating well, etc., etc. That just helped so much, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess today with phones and everything, you'd be able to get the message across. But
No, but still, I mean, especially if it's somewhat of an emergency, it can be super stressful on you. I remember
yeah,
when we moved to Cyprus and we were there for 2 weeks, I think, and then Lottie got hit by that car. So she didn't really get hit by the car, but she sort of ran into it. That was
mm,
the whole lucky thing about it. But yeah, we had to go to the hospital, local hospital in that little city, and
mm,
luckily some of the doctors were able to speak English, but
mm,
it was not easy, right, to translate the different things and find out what we had to
mm,
do. And then, they didn't have capacity to really look after little kids, so we had to go to the capital, which was like 2 hours away. Getting all that messaging across was super, super, super weird. And I bet if we would have been in Australia or Germany or New
mm,
Zealand, we'd have
mm,
just gone there, and it would have
mm,
been a lot shorter procedure, a lot less stressful. It'd be a lot
mm,
more, okay, I think it's this. We need to check this. We need to check that. Do you agree? Right. And there it was sort of, yeah, like almost like a negotiation
mm, mm,
for everything. And then like everything was lost in translation. So
yeah.
that absolutely, I agree with little kids. Very
Pretty
different.
funny, right? Once you have kids, everything, your whole decision-making matrix the whole framework definitely gets changed. Not that it's worse, but the priorities shift tremendously, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Even with you now, right? Going to China for 4 months, that would have, you had to meticulously plan this and time this, right? Because you can't just go because Theo's going to school at
Yeah,
some point, and you got to be back for that, and you can't do it. And then there's if you would have said you permanently moved to China, then it's like a huge thing with family and
yeah,
friends that these little kids are attached to. So it's not just you having to make the decision to leave your family alone, but it's also weighing out what it would be for them
yeah. How's
to
the
leave their
schools
friends.
like? What
Yeah,
kind of are you unplugging them from their life here, but you're also very cognizant of what are you plugging them into.
yeah, yeah. It's true. Not easy, but it's cool. I think you'll learn a lot. And you've moved countries a bit. You've lived in different places, and I feel like you'd agree that it just shapes you, makes you see the world through a different lens, and like makes you a different human. So if we go back to what we said earlier, that you compare yourself to your past self, I think moving countries has for me made a huge, huge difference
Yeah,
in developing, and it's probably the same for you.
yeah, 100%. Like, I I didn't even know, for example, what it meant to be Singaporean until I left Singapore,
Oh,
right?
that's interesting. In what
Like
sense?
like because you take everyone around you is thinking a certain way that's similar to your, let's say, your OS with
Hmm.
interfacing with the world, then you just assume that that's just how it is and how it works, right? And it's only
Mm.
after you're exposed to something different that delta then tells you so much more about that um, underlying algorithm that you're running on, right?
Yeah.
And so, for example, when I was talking to a friend 2 days ago, and I said, I think the best way to learn about another culture is to actually, and also your own, is to actually compare the different results when you have a similar situation.
Mm.
And from that difference in the results, you then realize, oh, there's actually so much difference in how we think and how we prioritize and what we say no to, what we say yes to, etc., etc. And that's how you come to the point where the end result's so different,
Hmm.
And then you try and think backwards, and you try and reverse engineer and try and figure out, like, okay, so why do they do that? What is it
Yeah.
that's different about the way they think to make them just say something so, like, it's such a matter of fact thing, right? Like, okay, I'm in Germany now, right? So I had to go and clear all the glass bottles that we use, like all the jams and the jam jars and the beer bottles, wine bottles, whatever, right? And then I'm trudging along in the snow, trying to find a place that's, I don't know, 400 meters away, carrying this freaking heavy bag. And then I go there and I need to sort all this glass into like 5 different colors before I can recycle it, right? And like, I've lived in so many other countries and everyone else also uses glass bottles and
Yeah.
glass jars. Like, why is it that this is something that all Germans do and they don't find it a hassle at all? Right? It's just something that they do and it's okay. And then just before I leave the house, right, Anya tells me, hey, make sure you drop all the bottles in before 1 o'clock because you're not allowed to drop them in between 1 and 3. And I was
Like
like, what?
midday, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, because kids are having a nap then, and you shouldn't drop them in at that time because you'll wake them up. I'm like, what, like what, right? And then I spent that whole, I don't know, 10 minutes while I'm dragging the stuff through the snow, ankle deep snow, thinking about why are they doing that? Like, why are they doing that? And why are they happily doing that, right? There must be something, like, what's the difference, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
So what is it?
And oh man, I want to keep this conversation PG-13. I don't know. I think Germans get a lot of value when they undertake something that's slightly tedious or difficult if it somehow appeals to their sense of, oh, we're doing the right thing, right? And I'm struggling to understand how this is the right thing because you drop it into this big can, right? And you can hear all the glass like shattering as it gets to the bottom.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. Like, isn't it better to let people just come and collect it and they can make money because they can then sort it out and they can resell it to the, I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. You're German. I don't know.
We'll continue that conversation next time. This is
Yep.
our first try.
Yep.
We got cut off a little bit by the cold and the battery power. So we stopped at how different cultures, different countries behave and how to best observe that by living in different countries. And I think it's quite interesting. So stopped off with the rubbish bins and how they separate the glass containers in Germany. And I think that'd be a cool topic to pick up again next time.
Yeah, please. Sorry about that. I was on 30-40% battery and then the phone just died. So,
Man, we can also talk about electric cars and how they're going to handle this.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's
Anyway,
what
yeah.
happens when you're trying to push technology to the edge by recording a podcast while going on a walk
In
from
the snow.
different ends of the earth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't be good, but we
But
need to keep pushing.
yeah, let's try. And so, talking the walk.
Is the first draft name.
Yep. So let's just run with that until we come up with a better name.
Nice. Cool.
Oh no,
Excited. That was fun.
let's not run with it. Let's walk with it.
Let's walk with it. Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
there'll be a lot of background noise if you run.
So true. But hey, Flo, I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad we could recover everything. So looking forward to
Yeah.
the next call.
Awesome, man. That was
All right.
great. Yeah. I'll continue with my day. You have a good night.
Yep. Catch you later, Flo.
See ya.
See ya.